Record. All right, all right. Welcome, Internet, everybody. My name is Matthias with AlchemistAcademy.org. That's AlchemistAcademy.org. And I'm here joined today with my good friend, brother from Chicago, Kelly Fisher. Kelly, say hello to the people.
I'm going to say hello, people.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today and, doing what you do. It's really important to me to get this message out. Alchemist Academy is all about a school of conscious transformation, and you're talking about anxiety, and this is all about anxiety and ending anxiety. And one of the things that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, depending on any area of life, is anxiety. I know I've experienced it tremendously throughout my life, and it's hard to get anywhere or do anything with it. So why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself and, where you're from and what got you on this path?
Okay, sure. Thanks, everyone, for being here. If you're looking to really end anxiety, you guys are in the right place. I just want to tell you, I've been studying the mind and how it works my whole entire life. I've been a personal fitness trainer and a certified hypnotherapist for over 20 years. So I've had a lot of experience with people in my office coming in. Anxiety just seemed to be just one of the overall factors that people were coming in with. So seeing so many clients over that many years, I've developed a program where I saw a need to really boil it down, to simplify it for people. And I've been doing live stage events around explaining how to get rid of anxiety. And so I figured if I boiled it down and gave it to people so they could study in their own home, the privacy of their own home, because some people get anxious about going to see a therapist or just not know where to go in general. That just even builds anxiety, not even know how to take the first step. So I put this program together where you could just sit in your own home and just go through all the videos, all the meditations, and it's all about control, reduce, and end anxiety. And that's the main crux of the program.
Awesome. So what would you say, anxiety is something that you think about and it's kind of hard to put a finger on it, because it doesn't matter if you're really successful or you're not successful and you're trying to get there. Why don't you explain to everybody a little bit about what anxiety is?
It's interesting you say that because I have several clients that are wealthy as can be, and they just can't sleep at night. They can't shut off the roof chatter. They can't close that gap. And it's interesting how money and success has nothing to do with what we're talking about, as you know. My personal definition from my study is I like to call it the gap, where you're physically at in the universe and where that mind is racing to future events. That gap is what I call anxiety. And you can never control that gap. You can never control the future event because it's a future event. And that sounds simple, but once you get this picture in your mind that, I got to control, bring it down, slow my mind. My motto is slow your mind down to the speed you're living. So meaning pull that future tense, because you can never control that future tense. That gap is anxiety. So learning how to control it and bring it down to center yourself to now I'm in my power. Now I can make choices of which way to go. So closing that gap is what this whole thing's about.
No, that's awesome. I mean, myself, I remember back in college and I was playing at University of Iowa. It was probably one of the most anxious times of my life. And people are like, what are you anxious about? You're tall, you don't look half bad, you get good grades, you're working hard, you got a relationship. And one of the things that I found was, before I would go to sleep, I would be racing about the next day's practice, the classes and how to make everything work. And I would end up losing tons of sleep and then going and not having the day that I would had if I had a full night's rest after working out and everything like that. So that gap that you're talking about is something that I think people are experiencing in all different levels of life.
Right. And going through this anxiety program and getting rid of that roof chatter, it is going to help you sleep. It's going to help in so many other aspects of your life because you're centered. And when you're centered, even when you're at sleep, I tell people, like, when you're laying in bed at night, literally just let go of the muscles in your neck and your head. It'll feel like your head sinks into the pillow like 6 inches. That's much tension we hold in the body, even when we're trying to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Just when you said that, I was like, I could relax my shoulders a little bit more. I'm holding tension for no reason. It's not valuable. Yeah, that's awesome. So I know anxiety affects people in a lot of different ways. So I've read up, setting up this conference and this webcast was like, all right, looking at different anxiety. And it's crazy because I get a bunch of spam in my inbox, everything from lose weight to, look better, attract more women, build a house, like make more money, all the different things that, all the things that you can possibly worry about. But it affects you. It affects us as people. I know us as men, it's one of the things that's always out there is like your performance in bed. Well, hey, if you have anxiety, that's something that could be affecting you there. It's affecting your work life.
Absolutely.
All those things in life that could be that much better are affected by anxiety. So what are some of the symptoms that you see people suffer from when they're when they're suffering from anxiety?
Well, it's interesting because everything's by degree and everything's on a sliding scale.
Right.
And a lot of times, like you see a lot of stuff on anxiety, and most times they're talking about the symptoms. They're talking about the after effect, the things you can't do, like that where we talk about that future tense almost, where this is the way you're feeling. It's like, well, they're not telling you how to get back in control of that. You know what I mean? So I've developed a program to really it really is about getting centered and turning it back into the now, like we spoke about. And it's all about getting back to your source of power. Because once you get out in the fringes of, well, I'm social anxiety, I have trouble going into parties, I have trouble, there's so many labels and so many symptoms of different anxieties, but they're all like after the anxiety's already kicked in. You know what I mean? So none of them like really say, well, then how do you get in control of that? So that's like my whole course of study. Well, how do you get in control of that? So that's why I've just developed a program to really bring you back centered. So it doesn't matter what label it has. You're in control of all of them. You know what I mean?
Definitely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing that I like to do is, giving people tools right away. So is there something, people are on this call, they're looking at how can I end anxiety now? Is there something they could do in this moment, on this call,
Yes.
that could help bring down anxiety?
Absolutely. The three main parts of the program are control, reduce, and end. Control, reduce, and end. There's 6 modules in the program,
Okay.
but the main 3 are control, reduce, and end. So control is the first one. Control what? When your mind is racing out of control, the only thing you absolutely 100% control of is your breath work. See, the mind that's racing out of control, the part you're thinking with right now, you can't fix the problem from there. It's like trying to fix a broken screwdriver with that same broken screwdriver. That's the part that's out of control.
Right.
So it's like people's like, well, I don't have time for this. I don't, well, listen. The only thing you're really in control of 100% is your breath work. So we always start with the breath work and the body work, slowing down the physical apparatus. We get into the physical apparatus and we talk about a lot of metaphysical concepts, but the physical apparatus you have to slow down first because the thought process is already in the future. It's already out of control. So at the beginning of every video and at the beginning of every conference I do, I always start with 3 deep breaths. And if you held, and we're going to do it in a second, if you held your breath as long as you could for as deep as you could and for as long as you could, and breathe out, just pushed out the air and took as long as you could for 3 breaths, the body would automatically, oh shoot, we better slow down. You start to send a signal to the body. So once you get in control of that, then the mind is the anxiety circle, I like to call it. It's how to break the anxiety circle. The mind races, dumps it into the body. Body gets tense, a little fight or flight, picks it back up to the mind. And that races so fast, it starts whizzing. That's what people call anxiety attack, panic attack, because it's out of control. And I know the feeling of being out of control like that. And you think, I don't have time to take a deep breath. You have to. You have to break the anxiety circle. And that's only really tool you have. So right now, like at the beginning of my videos, we'll go through 3 deep breaths.
Right now?
Show the people that are listening and watching, follow through, and just feel. Just notice, feel when we go through this, how the physical body responds, okay?
Cool.
All right, so we're going to sit up nice and straight in the chairs. We're going to take in a deep breath now, as deep as you can. Really fill up the lungs. Feel the oxygen come in. Hold at the top. Holding your breath, you feel the tension in the body. Taking a little extra oxygen. Hold. Hold. Feel the tension in the chest. Hold it up nice and high. 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. And when you breathe out, exhale all the way down to the bottom of the stomach and push out just a little extra. Squeeze the stomach and push the extra oxygen out, and the body automatically starts to follow. And a very powerful number of 3. That's why we do it in 3s. One more deep breath in now. As deep as you can. Really fill up the lungs. Feel the chest rise. Hold at the top. Take in a little extra oxygen. Hold for as long as you can. Feel the tension in the body building. 3, 2, 1. Relax. And when the rib cage drops all the way down to the stomach, push out just a little extra air. Squeeze the stomach. Feel the body just start to shut off and relax. And like I said, guys, there's power in 3s. One more deep breath in now, as deep as you can. Really fill up the lungs. Get that rib cage rise up. Fill the lungs up as high as you can. A little more oxygen at the top. Feel the tension in the body. Feel the tension in the rib cage. Hold. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Feel the body sink into the chair. Squeeze the stomach. Breathe out all the extra oxygen. And feel the body completely relax into the chair. And the practice of taking 3 deep breaths and holding them as long as you can will automatically send a signal to the physical body to shut off and start to reprogram. And the best part about it is why I start these videos off like this, because when you slow everything down like this, as you know, Matthias, you just take in so much more information. It's the mind and body connection is just undeniable. And just those 3 deep breaths, I'm sure the people out there watching just felt it. Just felt everything just start to shut off. You feel the physical tension, and then you feel it shut off. Automatically starts to break the anxiety circle.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, definitely, folks, make sure to jot down those notes. And, if it's one takeaway that you get from here today, at least have that. And if you're in that cycle and that you feel the anxiety building up in the chest and you're getting tighter and tighter, step away, 3 breaths, and you can start changing your experience right away.
Yeah, it's a fight or flight that kicks in. It's a physical tension in the body. And in the program, I go into great detail with the physical body and the brain circuitry and everything that's literally physically going on with the body that shuts off. I mean, the neural net, there's 100 trillion cells in the body that are listening to every command you think. So, I mean, this balance of mind and body is just, there's so much study. It's so exciting. You know what I mean? Once you get into it, you see how all these models fit together and like, oh, okay, I see how this all fits together,
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like this would be a core to everything else. Like if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to, move into a new job or new position, if you're trying to get into romance, if you have anxiety in any of these places, it would seem like it's something that permeates society. We live in a fear-based society now. It's, we don't have enough, but we have more than enough. It's like we're starving to death, but we're obese. It's like we don't have any time, but we're bored. We have a million friends, but we're lonely. So all these things that are permeating society and the things that we're reaching for, it seems like anxiety is kind of an undercurrent and this gunk that's keeping us from being able to achieve our maximum experience.
Absolutely. I mean, what comes to mind when you speak like that is like, shut the TV off for a little while, because that's every message that's on television, what you just went through. And we're designed to be in an anxious state. We're designed to be in fear because that's how they sell. You know what I mean? It's like if the people were so imbalanced that they didn't accept bad news, the bad news wouldn't be on every night. So it's a yin yang going on here. You have to disconnect from the signal of anxiety and bad news that is triggering you and realize that it's doing that.
Yeah,
you know
definitely,
what I mean?
Definitely. Well, me being a marketer and been in marketing for, well over a decade is like, you play on need, greed, and fear of loss. It's all fear-based and understanding consciousness and moving and looking for the people who are trying to experience something more. You step away from that and it goes into the prosperity, the thriving, the joy, the happiness. And it's one thing the balance, the peace. It's one thing that I think we're always striving for, but we're not really taught. We're taught to go get a degree. We're taught to go get a relationship, go get things. And I think just that go get, we don't understand how much anxiety and how much strain we put on ourselves instead of being able to sit back in the moment and then make a
Right.
choice, like you mentioned. I think that the thing about choice is a really big deal. So, talking about society and everything that we get message wise. So the media is hitting us with stuff. Social media is hitting us with stuff. And it seems like we're in a very reactionary society. Like, oh, something bad happened. How am I supposed to react? This happens. How am I supposed to react? What does
Right.
your program do to help neutralize that? And what happens when that's neutralized? How does that process work?
One of the best things about going through the program and slowing your mind down to the speed you're living and living in the now is you don't have that knee jerk reaction anymore when something happens. You don't have to you respond instead of react. Most people that are out of balance and everything's tense, they react constantly. Something happens to me, I look at it, internalize it, and respond. I choose to respond. Again, like we talked about responsibility, your ability to respond. Now you're back in control of your life. So when you're centered and relaxed, things actually move a little slower around you. It's really cool. And when things happen, even when things dramatic happen, you could just, oh, wait a second. You have that second, you have that capacity because like we talked about, one of my bonus videos is called full glass syndrome. And when you're at the full glass, when you're at the top and everything spills you over, you're reacting to everything. Everything spills you over. And when you meditate, this is why we meditate. We bring down enough, about a quarter of that glass down, and now we have all this capacity to respond to something. That's the best part about meditation and about going through this program is now we have just a bigger capacity to not just respond, but like you talk about, just to love, to care more, it balances you more. Everything flows more. It's just a beautiful process to go through, you know?
Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. I
Yeah.
think, a lot of people that are on this call and a lot of people suffering from anxiety, even just the concept of joy, love, and definitely peace, to be at peace is something that some people haven't experienced in years. So what are you
Right.
seeing? You've worked with, hundreds, if not thousands of clients over the years. What are you seeing
Right.
in their life before working with them? What was their experience? And then after working with them, what type of results are they seeing from doing the different exercises and actually putting some focus and attention on it?
Well, in the beginning, so glad so many people are here watching this because a lot of times you have to be just sick and tired of being sick and tired and being out of balance where you really need something else. So even being this far into it and trying to learn more is I give people kudos for being here. That being said, like I talked about before, everything's by a sliding scale. Everything's by degree. So when somebody's out of balance, to what degree are you out of balance? Meaning, like people come to me like, how many sessions is it going to take in hypnotherapy to do this? I'm like, well, how long has it been happening? How much is it programmed in the subconscious mind? How much is your environment keep continuing that program in your life and mind? So it's by degree. That being said, the good news is this program works, meditation works. I mean, it's been around for thousands of years, as you know. But when people come back, when I do private practice, I usually see people once a week. So I give a whole week for the programs to kick in and subconscious mind to start to take control. And a lot of times I give people a guided visualization I record for them specifically for what we're going through. And I know the people that have listened to it during that week and come back, and I can just see it in their eyes. They're just more centered. They're more alert. They're more, oh, I get what's going on now. And the people that are just out of balance, that don't think they have time for it, they come back and they're still angry, a little out of balance, upset. I'm like, listen, you have to do this more than just seeing me. So like I said, everything's by degree. It's practice every day like exercise. I tell the physical body, the mental lifting is the gym, and the mind. The meditation is the mental lifting. You have to go through the mental lifting to slow everything down.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm with you there. It seems like, people suffering from anxiety, one of the things that you're going to run into, is getting started on anything. So when is a good time for somebody with anxiety to, get in? Is there something that they should do beforehand, or is this something that they should just dive right into and start working on it?
Well, the best thing, like I said, I have control, reduce, and end modules.
Hmm.
Module 5 is called Morning Cup of Joe, Joe, just outstretch ego, where I have 6 meditations, only 10 minutes long. You listen to first thing in the morning. It's called the hypnagogic zone. It's in between sleep and awake. There's that where the subconscious mind is wide open, because the conscious, you're still kind of just fading in and out. If you listen to these meditations, so first thing in the morning, I reprogram. I have anxiety-free living, of course, but then I have healthy relationships, well-being, ideal career. I have other meditations. So when you do start to slow down your anxiety and get in control of your life, now you have other areas to go to. But in the beginning, I would suggest anytime you could put in would be beneficial. If you have to wake up a little bit earlier, like I said, that first 10 minutes, if you could just close your eyes, sit on the balcony or have a cup of coffee and just it's not even trying to meditate or visualize or trying to accomplish anything. It's more about just closing your eyes and being conscious. Just allowing, I call it the little yip yip dog, yip 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 yip. That's your ego, your roof chatter, trying to pull you off center constantly. Oh, we're busy. We got to do this. We got to do that. Just actually sitting down and watching that thought process go by. That's the practice of going, wait a second, if I'm not that thought process, who am I? I'm the person sitting behind the thought process. So it's about getting once removed, and it takes some practice to get once removed so you're not that scattered thought. Everyone thinks they're their thought process, that scattered person, and it's not you. You have to step back and get in control of that. So the beginning is just anytime, at night, if that's the best time, when you put the kids to bed, or anytime you're alone where you can sit down for 10 minutes and just take the deep breaths, sit back and start to analyze how you think and feel when you're starting to detach yourself from this roof chatter. That's the best way to start the practice.
Awesome. So why don't you share some stories of people that you've worked with before? Like, what was their experience before, this? Like, what were they going through, what they were seeing you with? And then after working with them and teaching some of the tools, what was their experience after? Because I think that's something really big for people, is like, what is my experience going to be like? Yes, there's varying degrees, but give me an idea of what it's like for the people.
Sure. I was working with a client, a very successful client, which I said, it's funny how people think, well, as soon as I get all the money I need, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, money fixes it.
What's that?
Money always fixes it, right?
Oh, yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
It's going to fix everything. Yeah. As soon as I get to this amount, it's like, really? You're going to be in control of your thought at that amount? And it's funny because one of my clients, like I said, a very, very wealthy guy, and he's just he was so driven to get more money and grow his business, which that actually makes people more out of balance, obviously. But he came to me, and I started teaching him some techniques, and we were actually working together physically and mentally, which was pretty cool. I was training him at the gym. They'd come to me for some hypnotherapy, and he was an overweight guy, out of balance, very wealthy. And so, the hypnotherapy part, I started slowing him down to what was important to him, and start to pull him back from that drive that made him so much money, which is fine. Like you said, we're taught that, how to get that drive and make more money and accomplish things. But the importance level of that, I just had him realize that, his family around him and what he was building on the outside of that. And we started visualizing on that more and bringing that more to the forefront in guided visualizations and hypnotherapy, and starting balancing it more mentally, as far as you get this Stuart Wilde calls it etheric leaning. You get this etheric leaning where you're leaning so far to one aspect, especially like making money, that you just don't realize that you're just out of balance. You're leaning that way, and you gotta again disconnect. A lot of disconnecting and zooming out to rebalance yourself. And the best part was, after working with him for a while, he came in the gym and just all of a sudden, he not only had that glow in his eye, that centered look, like he was present, but his body started changing. I mean, this guy lost so much weight after working together, on both mentally and physically. It was just, he came in one day at the gym. I'm like, look at you, you're disappearing. It's amazing. I mean, he was just vibrant. I mean, he was just alive again. He cut his hair and bleached it. I'm like, yeah, wait a second, let's not go too wild here. But he was like a kid again. You know what I mean? He was just in balance again. It was so exciting working with him. It was crazy.
That's awesome. And I think, in the world of anxiety, and I mean, I've seen it in my life, and definitely hypnotherapy and the power of the subconscious mind, and getting control of your mind and being able to step away, it changes so much. I think a lot of we don't teach it in society, and thanks goodness for marketing. If we're marketing, yeah, that's good for them. but for us to be able to
Right.
actually gain control, and you think about if, anxiety isn't our natural state as human beings, right? So our natural state is we're usually, if you take a look at any kid, they're usually joyful, playful, happy, at
Yep.
peace in
Yep.
some way, shape, or form. So if we're suffering from anxiety, we're, like you said, we're in that lean, so we're already out of balance, and
Yep.
that has an effect on our body. So if cortisol levels, I'm sure all these different things. Look it up, see the side effects. Anybody online, you can look it up, Google like side effects of anxiety, and it's in the body. It's actually something that is going on in the mind, but it's affecting the body. So I'm sure all of
Absolutely.
your systems are going to be affected when your nervous system is
Yep.
stressed out and you have all
Yep.
this, additional stress. Anxiety causes
Right.
stress in the body, and stress is related to all these different problems. So it's definitely
Yep.
something. If you're aware of this and you're listening to this because you are aware of it, starting to work on it can improve countless areas of your life. It's not just, I'm anxious about making money. I want to make more money. I'll do that. But your health, your well-being, your relationships. This seems like a core foundation if you can get anxiety under control. It seems like that.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, there's a reason they call it disease, dis-ease. I said you can't have a disease in the body when the mind's at ease. You can't have a dis-ease. It's just not the way it works. And even the fight or flight system rushes blood to the extremities because we're going to fight or flight. And it literally leaves the visceral organs open for disease. It breaks down your immune system because you're ready to fight or flight. And when you're in that constant fight or flight, like most people are, your body's open for disease. I mean, the balance that you get back in is amazing. It's crazy how it all balances together.
Yeah, so it's a giant system, and it seems like the mind is at the core of that, and that's one of the things that
It
you
is.
can really do. So, do you teach meditation? Because people, I've been meditating for a long time, but a lot of people haven't even done meditation, or they ask, okay, well, how do I meditate? Do you go into that in the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, module one is what is anxiety, where I explain like really what the definition of it and where it comes from. So you have these models that you just. I like to paint a lot of visual pictures when
Right.
I teach, and just understanding that like I spoke of that gap where we start to slow everything down and just like I spoke of in the beginning, when you close your eyes, your conscious mind is going to speed up. Your ego is your conscious mind. It's important to understand that, and it's not used to being shut off during the middle of the day. So it's used to being, we're not human doings. We're human beings. We're supposed to be centered. You know what I mean? So teaching people how to shut that off is just that's the main crux of it all. How to pull everything down, and it's important to understand. It's not so much getting in control of it, but letting it go. Because you can't
Right.
control that conscious roof chatter. You have to let it go and realize you're the person behind it, letting it go, and then you start to get in deeper concepts of who you really are. You know what I
Definitely.
mean?
Yeah, I know Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about that, and he, as a major leader in consciousness and had that experience where he was able to separate his mind,
Exactly.
but he was on a bench, all alone
Yeah.
and going through a terrible time, and
Right.
hopefully we don't have to wait that long, and,
Right.
there's programs you can jump into
Yeah.
before it gets out of
He,
hand.
yeah. He was talking. Eckhart Tolle was talking about in the Power of Now that He's like, I'm going to commit suicide. He's like, who is the I that's going to kill the person that? He's like, wait a second. There's two people here, and that was an amazing,
Yeah.
profound epiphany for him.
Revelation, yeah, that definitely changed my whole consciousness about me and myself and I, all three of us in here. So, so the other things that are, so there's a lot of techniques. You mentioned control, and we did one of the first exercises. I know we set up a series of these to give people as much information as
Right.
possible to start empowering them. I know we have a little email box. If you guys have any questions, start emailing. That's going to help us prep the next presentation to answer any questions that you guys have here. And by the time we get to this whole series, hopefully there's enough information for you to get your anxiety to a point where you can make a decision and start doing more with your life, be able to start, taking initiative and having different experiences. And Kelly's put together over 20 years of experience in building this program, so definitely something to take a look at. So how are these techniques performed? Do you need to be a yogi master? Do you need to be in a quiet room that's all alone, or in a closet? How are these different techniques being executed in the program?
Well, actually, it's good you brought that up because I like rituals. I think anytime you could send a signal to the body that what's about to go on. I like to sit in a lazy boy chair. It's good to be upright. You don't want to be flat because the subconscious mind is used to going to sleep because you are slowing your brainwave cycles down. So in an upright, laid back, lazy boy position. I like incense. I like aromatherapy. Do you need any of this stuff? No. But it's just one extra thing to send a signal like, this is my ritual, this is my thing, this is what I'm doing for myself to get healthy. So it's good to set it up. So you go get the incense, it's time for you, it's your 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. It sends a signal to the body. It sends a signal, just like the 3 deep breath sends a signal to the body to let go. Your little ritual that you set up, very important because it's very private, very personal. You're inside your own head and you got your own time. Put some headphones on, get the aromatherapy, lay back, you got some music, you got my guided visualizations, my meditations, and just make it a ritual. Make it very important because this is your time. You're changing your life. You know what I mean? Make it that, and it's gonna help that much more.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the control. We talked about that. The reduce and the components in that. Can you talk a little bit more about reduce?
Sure. The control part is physical breath work like we did, and then the physical body work. I go through a white light healing from the head to the toe, each and every muscle group slowly, and that white light healing further opens up, like I said, 100 trillion cells are listening. It opens up every cell, every muscle, every organ, just opens everything up. So we go through the physical breath work, we go through the physical body work. That's control. That's the second module. The reduce part, we have the L-shaped technique, I call it, bringing down original thought, because we're not worried about the past, worried about the future or regrets from the past. We start to center everything. Once we start to center the physical body with the breath work and the body work, now we start to bring down original thought from L-shaped technique, I call it. So it's a visual, metaphysical visual, bringing down energy, which is very powerful, connection to the universe. And then I talk about also in the reduced section, the physical part of L-shape, meaning the kundalini, the spine, the spinal column, how we actually centering everything, pulling it through the body. So the reduced section goes through the metaphysical and the physical, explaining how this is all wired together. And then we get to the end program where we actually get to end anxiety, which is pretty exciting. And by the way, don't jump to the module that says end.
What?
This is laid out in order. Everyone's let's go right to the end module.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. You have to control, reduce, and end. It's set up this way for a reason. I've been doing this for a long time. And we do get to the end. I call fork in the road technique, where you slow down the breath work, you slow down the body work, you have the L-shaped technique, you understand how this is all connected, you're the conduit between bringing down original thought and expressing it out in your life. And now the end part, the fork in the road, is you get to the point where you're so good at this that as soon as that anxious thought starts to come up, like a little chihuahua, nope, we're not doing that no more. Like Caesar Milan, your dog whispering, nope, yip, dog, nope. And you get that good at it, where it's like, because that thought is going to take you down that dark path that there's no end down there. It's just anxiety, it's heart racing, it's out of control. And you get in control so much through this process that the fork in the road is literally, wait a second, nope. You just stop yourself because it's like, nope, I'm choosing a different path. And then the best part about it, after we get to control, reduce, and end, we get on original thought. What does that mean? I have some experts on that are more spiritual, we get into a realm of, once we get in control of our thought process and slow it down, now what? Now we don't have anxiety anymore. Now we get to choose original thought. Now we get to create. Now we're actually creating instead of allowing our thoughts to control us. So it's a whole scale of slowing everything down, controlling it, getting some new thought, and then getting on with your life and actually reprogramming some new positive stuff. So my program goes through the whole gamut of pulling everything back together.
Awesome.
Controlling it.
So where could people get more information? I know you're on a Facebook group. You started a Facebook group. You're also active on the forums and stuff like that. So where can people get more info on?
Right. The Facebook group is The Anxiety Solution on Facebook.
Okay. We'll make sure to include that in the email and stuff that we send to you afterward.
Absolutely. Yes. And for people that are watching right now, as you know, we're working together. We have my program, it's over 18 hours of programming. It's a 6-week module where you go through 1 week at a time with meditations. It's you go to www.anxiety.solutions, plural. It's .solutions, not .com. So
Anxiety.Solutions is one of the new domains, right? Yeah, Anxiety.Solutions.
Anxiety.Solutions, a new domain. So they can go there and get the program, and they could get the instant access to the whole thing and just start listening to it tonight if they wanted to. So Anxiety.Solutions, and anybody listening, working with us, we have a checkout code at the end. Punch in Alchemy, and you get $100 off the program for being with us here today. So
awesome. Yeah, I know. And like I said, folks, we're going to be doing 2 more of these, so you have even more information. But you can jump on there if this is something that you have been dealing with and you're suffering from anxiety. It's actually affecting your life and you're aware of it. Definitely start working to figure it out. Jump on the group at least. If you are ready to get started today, Kelly has put over 2 decades worth of work and expertise from all of his different training certifications, knowledge working with clients, all those particulars in a number of different art forms and techniques, tools to allow you to start experiencing change right now. So, I'm not a big sales guy. I love sales, but I'm not, my big thing is about helping people and changing consciousness. And I know that's, what you're doing here is focused on one of the biggest problems I think we suffer from, definitely as Americans, but I think it's a global epidemic, this anxiety thing in the modern world. So if you are interested in getting started today, definitely jump on Anxiety.Solutions. The code is Alchemy. We'll include that in the email as well, so you can check that out. And please, once again, jump over. There's the email section on the side here. Shoot over some email questions, because this is going to allow Kelly to get some additional feedback. We can find out what we could do better, what you want answered on the next webinar, if there's anything specific to you or situations that you're dealing with in your life that we can bring that information to the forefront. That's what we're here to do. We're on a mission to change consciousness on the planet, and definitely anxiety is keeping us from doing that. So please get engaged and start creating change in your own life. It's going to ripple out. When you're happy, the people around you are happy, and it just keeps going and going. Kelly, is there anything else we should definitely be sharing with our folks today?
I just want to say off the bat, because I was just thinking about it, like even in the beginning of my program, I talk about, I thought you were going to fix anxiety. You're talking about meditation. It's like, yeah, I know. People are like, no, you don't understand my life. You don't understand how hectic. Yeah, I do. I understand. It's like there are tools out there, and I like I said, I've been doing this over 20 years, and just seen so many people that teaching them how to control, reduce, and end. And you see that when you connect with people and they do go through this program, they get that relaxed look. They get centered. All of a sudden, they're present. And when you're present, it's your present. When you're present, there's a reason they call it present. When you're present, like you said, now you can help other people. You can give your gifts to other people when you're present. So really slowing everything down. It's not only going to get rid of anxiety, but it's going to help so many other aspects of your life and people around you and your loved ones also.
Definitely. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. I think we're going to wrap it today. Be on the lookout. We will send a recording of this, so you'll have access to this later, so you can review some of this stuff. Please send it to your friends as well. Send them the link to Anxiety.Solutions. If you know anybody suffering from it, we a lot of times will complain when we see something on the internet. We're quick to complain, but we're not quick to help. And as soon as we start shifting our consciousness to how we can serve and uplift each other, that's going to help. So if you know anybody that you're like, man, they seem just really stressed out, maybe they can just look at this. And even if they just get, the ability to take a breath, that could change their whole experience. So please, it's not just about jumping in on the program. If it's something for you and you're drawn to it, jump on it. That's for you. But please share this with people that are suffering or you see suffering. That's just something that we can do as brothers and sisters, as human beings. So thank you, everybody. Once again, I'm Matthias, alchemistacademy.org. We're going to have 2 more of these, and we're going to be sending them out via email. So be on the lookout in your inbox for that. And Kelly, thanks again, brother, for the work that you're doing and helping out the people. Much love, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, Internet.
Welcome. That's what we're here for. Guys.